and it looks a little bit simple, and then of course it gets so much better. Now we have got another game for you. We are being told that the players are ready. I'm crossing my fingers for a Chandelure. You're crossing your fingers for a Gardevoir.
I am indeed.
Could we have a Chandelure Gardevoir matchup? Probably not, to be honest, but it would be nice. We've got Miller time, and I'm going for GG33. That's a pronunciation I'm rocking with, Solomon.
Right. Okay, so we can see on the stream we've got GG33 and Miller time.
And I don't know. I think one of these looks like a Braixen player to me. It looks quite good to me. Now, obviously, we don't know what players they're picking. We are going to see Miller time is going to be our kind of blue player. So we are going to be able to see his character select screen. We're going to be able to see exactly who he's picking in a moment. But, I mean, there are an awful lot of viable Pokemon in Pokken Tournament. We've seen that Gengar really isn't seeing a lot of love, and Garchomp, although we've seen some success with Garchomp, very much an underutilized character. Whereas things like Braixen, Suicune, Blaziken, we're expecting to see quite a lot of these Pokemon as we go through the weekend.
Indeed. Indeed. So, going into character select, we can see that. We're just gonna are we gonna wait until they pick the character, or? It
looks like we do have a little bit of a delay, you know. GG there, they want to be comfortable. This is a long tournament. They've got lots of rounds to play. They want to make sure that they're absolutely at their peak. So sometimes they need to, you know, step away for a second. So going back to Braixen then, with that sunny day, it's one of these things, and I would equate it to Machamp's Bulk Up. It is going to be used, and when we see a good Braixen player, you are going to see Braixen constantly going shiny. It is one of those, for good Braixen players, it almost turns into a bit of a reaction. Oh, I'm going to use Flamethrower. But you never see them use Flamethrower without switching straight into a Sunny Day. Same thing with Fire Blast. They want that enhancement from Sunny Day constantly so that they can be throwing out those enhanced Pokemon moves all the time. We see it with Machamp with his Bulk Up, but we also see things like Charizard, where it's not enhancing moves, but it's that flying stance that gives them options. And you'll see good Charizard players just switching from flying stance to regular, just back and forth all the time. Because it's all about the mind games of your opponent. You do not want them predicting what you're going to do.
Yeah, that's indeed. You don't want them predicting what you do, because obviously that would cause problems for you. What you want to do is stay unpredictable and make your opponent keep guessing, so that what you want to do is what you want to try and condition your opponent. Condition them into what you want them to do, so that you can always have an advantage.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, let's say, for instance, you've got a character that jumps an awful lot. Well, then let's use Braixen as an example. Braixen's got that flamethrower, which shoots diagonally up.
Yes.
So if you see a player that's jumping an awful lot, well, you just start whacking out your flamethrower, knocking them out of the air, maybe getting some combos out of it, and it means you can punish them if you see a player blocking a lot. Well, that's okay, because we've got grab moves, so if your opponent ends up blocking a bit too much, and this is what I really like about Pokken Tournament, it is a game of reading your opponent. At the high level, it's about reading your opponent and prediction. And especially when we've got these best of threes, bit of a mouthful, but it's the way I like to think about it. You can lose a best of three, and then actually we end up in a situation where what you do is you turn around and you take advantage of the tells that your opponent showed in the previous game. Now, it turns out we did have the players wrong. We've actually got Sabrewoif and Fenor.
Yes, I was thinking that we got the names on, didn't we? Yeah. Sabrewoif, as we know, is a UK player. He primarily mains Suicune against Fenor, who I don't quite know what he picks.
We did see Fenor I'm sure we saw Fenor on some of the streams we did last year. Unfortunately, I cannot remember every Pokemon played by every player from a year ago. But you called it. Sabrewoif went right for that Suicune. And the Umbreon, Espeon combination of support characters. We see quite a lot of Umbreon. He's got an attack, he absorbs synergy gauge and stops critical hits.
Yes.
Whereas Espeon removes negative statuses and recovers HP and charges very fast. Quite similar to...
Actually, I'm going to correct you there. Umbreon doesn't charge fast, it charges slow.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I was saying that Espeon charges fast.
Okay.
He's the one that recovers HP. No, Umbreon charges very slowly. And we see Espeon, kind of like Cresselia, players really like these support Pokemon that heal statuses and heal HP and kind of help them out in the mid game to give them that second wind.
Yes, because you don't want to be lingering in a fight with a negative status inflicted on you.
I mean, as a Chandelure player who loves overheat, I feel the pain of negative statuses. It's something that afflicts me. We have a Mewtwo against Suicune. Lay it out for me, Solomon. What are we expecting?
Right, so we're going to see, obviously, these two are going to fill each other out in field phase. Mewtwo's going to probably want to get in because he doesn't want to be at range against Suicune's Aurora Beam, which can instantly knock him into dual phase. So Mewtwo's going to want to probably go in with a homing attack to change phase and get as much synergy as possible, because when you do win to phase, you get a synergy boost towards you in your meter.
Yeah, now we do see the Mewtwo coming out here, going in quite aggressively, feeling him out. Psycho Cut there, straight into dual phase, I should say. And then a grab to flick it straight back into field phase.
Yes, Mewtwo wants to win a lot of field phases so that he can get synergy as much as possible, because Mewtwo is actually the hardest person to gain synergy. Like, his synergy is about, it's the largest, like, it's very hard to gain.
And of course, all of Mewtwo's Pokemon moves actually drain your synergy gauge, so we see a lot of Mewtwo players just eschewing that synergy gauge altogether. We can see here he's got almost no synergy gauge, despite us being, halfway through this round. He doesn't matter. Although Sabrewoif here, the Suicune player, is very much on the ropes, so he's throwing out those blizzards, trying to create a little bit of space, and here comes Snarl, knocking Mewtwo out the air, setting up that Aura Beam.
Yes, as we can see, that Sabrewoif is pretty low in health. I would advise him not to keep jumping too much, because that's kind of like a panic reaction. If you're jumping too much, the opponents can read that and then proceed to counter accordingly.
And that's what we said about before the round, and that's exactly what we saw. You called it, Solomon. He got punished for jumping a little bit too much there. And now we're going to see if he's going to change his strategy in the second game. Now we do see him going much more aggressively, straight into the grab. Really nice prediction there. Many, many attacks. And right as Mewtwo went to block for the first time, out came the grab.
Yes, so now we're instantly going back into dual phase. Now, Suicune jumps to launch water guns. It's just one of his tools that he can go for. And as we can see, a nice combo. And this, one of the many combos that Suicune does use, that goes from a dive kick into a double kick, and that goes into a finish Aurora Beam up.
And then he gets that grab, and he's got Fenor down to just 31 HP. This looks to be a very different game. The perfect is gone, but the Snarl comes out, 1 HP. You cannot KO your opponent with a support Pokemon, but it's going to take one hit, and there we see the jumping projectile. The difference being there, of course, he was too far away for Mewtwo to punish that jumping attack, and that's how he managed to win that round.
Yes. So now we're going into the third game, and we see that Suicune does have his burst meter. He does opt to go for Umbreon early, which means that he's now going to be left without support.
Well, when he's slow charging characters, one of the things I always think is, use it at the beginning of the round. Maybe it will charge by the end of the round.
It could possibly do so.
It does take a while.
Yeah, it does take a while. We do see that Suicune does successfully manage to launch the true sheer cold.
And it's here, and we're getting the full animation. It does an awful lot of damage to Fenor here. Down pretty much to half health at this stage. Throwing out that Icy Wind, which of course is boosted by the Synergy Burst mode that Suicune is in. And now we see those jumping projectiles again. Needs to be careful to not overuse the same move, of course. But a very, very different game 2 and 3 from Suicune here.
Yes. So now we're going back into field phase. Mewtwo doesn't have... I doubt that Mewtwo is going to be able to gain full synergy by the end of this match, but Mewtwo just doesn't really need it. He can work pretty much well without it.
He can, and he has to with all of his Pokemon moves, and a couple of grabs here. Mewtwo's got a couple of those grabs, and it looks like Mewtwo might be taking the first set here, because I really don't think... Oh, and there we go! While I was talking, he finished his combo, and Fenor and his Mewtwo take the first set. But of course, we got a best of 3. Yeah. Plenty of time to bring it back.
I mean, Sabrewoif can pretty much bring it back to a game 3 if he needs to. I'm pretty sure I'm confident in his abilities that he'll be able to do it.
And I always think that if one player wins set 1 and the other wins set 2, I really think that the advantage in set 3 goes to the player who won set 2.
Yes.
It's about information, and sometimes you can lose the first set as long as you get the information to win the next 2.
Of course, because the person who won game 2 would have more time to The opponent who won game 2 would have been able to figure out how he lost in game 1, figure out a strategy to win in game 2, and of course feel confident to run it over to game 3 and win.
Oh, we saw a beautiful teleport from Mewtwo there, teleported right behind Suicune, launched a combo from behind, little bit cheeky, but within the rules of the game. And now Suicune's coming back, but unfortunately, well, actually, we seem pretty even at this stage, as we saw those air projectiles coming out, those blizzards, and out comes Eevee. I like that. One player using Umbreon, one player using Eevee.
Yes, of course. Since that Mewtwo can't get into synergy quickly as most other characters, he opts to go for Eevee to increase his firepower so that he'd be able to, more or less as much damage as he can as if he was in burst.
And does recover a couple of some HP as well, which is always a nice bonus with Eevee.
Yes.
Now Mewtwo here is trying a little bit of zoning of his own, but we can see his shield there is red. Mewtwo could not take many more hits. And speaking of not being able to take any more hits, Suicune comes out with the waterfall style attack and takes the first game here. Sabrewoif is trying to even this up.
Right, so I think that Sabrewoif now probably has his number. Seeing as he won the first match, he can probably try and get it round to a second game.
But Mewtwo's coming in very aggressively here, gets some attacks, gets a grab, and Umbreon with Snarl. Very nice timing of that. Snarl knocks them back and does some damage. So if you can use it when your opponent's close to you, it's where you're really getting the full Snarl.
Yes, the full Snarl. That would inflict a no critical hit. So if you was to go for a counter and your opponent would grab you, you wouldn't receive the extra damage that your opponent would deal to you because of Umbreon's special ability.
Yes, you do get that no critical hit, and we see the Hyper Beam coming out from Mewtwo misses, Aura Beam coming out from Suicune hits, but Eevee comes out to lend Mewtwo a bit of a helping hand. Problem is, Suicune is using those projectiles and that blizzard. Now we see the synergy burst. If he can hit with True Sheer Cold, that will end this round and will end the set, in fact. And now, is he going to... Oh, no! Goes for the True Sheer Cold. I think a grab probably would have ended the game there.
Yeah, Suicune's burst attack does take quite a while to start up, so if the opponent can react quickly, he can go in for a grab before the attack fully launches off.
But it doesn't matter. He's got the win there. Suicune evens it up, and like I said, I now think Sabrewoif's got the advantage going into game 3. One thing I really liked from Suicune in that second game, he'd been using those air projectiles the whole game, but he's being much more selective about when he uses them.
Yes, I think he was nervous in the first round, but now he's figured out his rhythm. He now knows when to jump and when to launch attacks, as opposed to just jumping and launch those attacks and seeing if they work or not. But he'll jump now, knowing that okay, I can jump and then throw an attack, and if it works, then I can go forth and do it again.
It's what the good players do. Now Suicune here is really fending off, and now it's Suicune whose guard is being a little bit damaged, and he's kind of forced to go on the attack, because when that guard breaks, you are defenseless. Mewtwo always being hit by that counter attack very nicely, and here comes with the hail. Oh, and just several hails in a row, in fact. Just really working on that zoning game, trying to keep Mewtwo back, and a little bit cagey to start this final set.
Yes, Mewtwo obviously closing it in, blocking his attacks, trying to get in so he can go for a grab, or in this case the side strike. And we do see that Suicune has managed to win this phase by going for a counter attack to Mewtwo's homing attack.
And very nicely too, but that Hyper Beam from Mewtwo pierces your counter attack and goes through, gets the phase shift, and Mewtwo here really has got the advantage in terms of the life lead here. And it looks like he's on the verge of closing it out. One more good attack, and in comes Snarl.
Yes, obviously Sabrewoif being pressured uses the Snarl to try and get his opponent off of him. But unfortunately he does lose the round to Mewtwo.
Mewtwo comes in with that attack, and unfortunately it's such a low-key ending. Just one quick attack and he wins. Oh, never mind. Mewtwo going in aggressively, kicking Suicune right in the back there. And we see an early synergy burst here from Suicune. Of course, at this stage, Fenor and Mewtwo are on the match point here, so we really do need Suicune to come out. We see the Fire Ice, Thunder Punch, and the Hyper Beam getting us into field phase. We are getting down to the nitty-gritty of this matchup, ladies and gentlemen.
I feel that Sabrewoif was getting a little bit angsty. He's not blocking as much. He's also not grabbing as much. Maybe he's afraid that if he tries to grab, Mewtwo will go for a side strike. Of course, side strike is an attack that resists grabs. He can, cause the phase shift with it as well.
And at the moment, it seems like all Suicune's really got is that Snarl. It does lower the attack, but is it going to do any good? Mewtwo's coming here. He's not quite going to do enough, but he's down to 22 hit points remaining. Just one hit point remaining. Any attack, he could poke him, and this would do enough at this stage.
Yes, Sabrewoif is in trouble. One more attack could seal it, but a very nice mirror coat that could bring it to a game, to a round 3.
Oh, but he's got him! He comes
fire
in,
punched.
Fire punch, didn't even need the ice punch or the thunder punch, and that, ladies and gentlemen,